Unfortunately, the dog actually, hopefully I'm talking, but I'm not going to be constantly talking. Sometimes I'll be reading and not necessarily out loud when comments come in. And welcome, by the way. Not that anybody's here right now, but that's sometimes when I say it, usually when I say it, but also because I'm starting the video. Um, but yes, and our dog sometimes, as some of you know, likes to get up and be noisy and kind of get active, hyper when I am live streaming or on the phone, because I'm not really sure. And he just looked up from the chair he's laying on, and now he's getting up, so I don't have to worry about turning on the thingy. And by that, I mean turning down the radio, maybe turning off the AC. I've finally gotten warm again. And I guess I'll give the dog something to distract himself with. And then we'll see where this video, what kind of fun we get into on here together. Well, I just knew he was going to ask for it, so I might as well give it to him. And I'm going to put these on. Oh, and I have to put some laundry in the dryer too. Oh, this microphone. Oh. So I don't know if I should say it where there's nobody here. I think I will, because this is still actually literally a minute in, and even though some people seem to get, and I not judging them, I somewhat understand this, seem to get so easily distracted or be so easily impatient for the content to come. I will just say, for anybody who discovers this channel or who is new to this channel, never seen any of the videos or only seen a couple, and who stumbles upon this, so I'm just getting my pillows good behind me, stumbles upon this, that I do apologize for being away from the screen for a very short while there. And sometimes we got it. But um, I hope that you will feel that the postings and the video are worthwhile. I mean, I'm a very diverse person. I cover a lot of stuff, so musically and otherwise. So I really think there's something that most people could find to enjoy. It's always something to like and enjoy. So, although there was somebody who was just there for like a few seconds and left, but so you know, and I also I don't. It's not necessarily my fault, and I don't really need to necessarily apologize. And as far as general triggers, I often say nobody's here to hear it right now because I haven't been rolling that long. But I often say, if ever, because I try to. Sometimes it takes some time, or sometimes I put it off and come back or whatever. But I try to address any triggers that I experience. You know, and I'm not intending to trigger anybody with any of the content, but if I do, we can talk about it and hopefully get you feeling better. As far as there was another element to that I was gonna add, and it wasn't guns, so I don't remember what it was, but I wonder if that's gonna have some irony. Um, I wish I could remember what the other part of that was that I was gonna say. At the moment, I'm not. It's not coming to me. Oh, I think it was just simply that because this could be possible, and even though there's lots on YouTube and some videos, get noticed more than others, and or it varies and this and that, I can understand if somebody would um, possibly find me to be a trigger in one way or another, or anybody for that matter. What's interesting is that, and somebody was saying something on on a post or on a video that I want to watch back later, was saying something about how you know, he sounded like he was older, and he said I could understand being, getting and he's still alive, so getting triggered if you grew up in the six before the 60s or something like that. He said, and I said, yeah, but there's this thing called a brain, although it is although it is um, what's the word? Um, People like to say it's meldable, or you can you know work with the brain and this and that, and you can, I believe. Um, some things are very deep set, and um, at times it will just be challenging. Somebody was there very briefly until they said deep set, and didn't hear the previous part, so I mean maybe got triggered. But like, I was watching something the other day, and I'm planning to watch it back. It's quite long. I know that I was in the latter hour of it that I watched. But basically, she was saying something about how a lot of us have things from our childhood. They were saying a lot of us have things from our childhood that we haven't healed from. And I did a video. I don't remember exactly um, a lot of details from it, but I did do a video. Um, Not a lot of people did seem to notice. I will say that particular one, but it was fairly recently in the live tab, and it said, "What is something you haven't healed from?" As much as I would say, you can put it here in the comments and chat as well. I would almost maybe say it makes more sense there, because I don't think that's going to be the main theme of this. Like I say, they often have various themes. But yes, if I happen to trigger somebody, I look like somebody that you knew, or may or may not be, or I talk like somebody that you knew, and that, um, because I'm a kind person, and because it's not my intent. I mean, I am who I am. I mean, sure, I could dress up, 'tis the season kind of thing, but so a lot of people may either not apologize or say you don't have to apologize for that. However, I'm a kind person, so I will say I'm sorry. However, if I am who you think I am, isn't that a lyric? I think it is. Anyway, then you may have been wrong. We can maybe try and get past it. I know that seems very random to say, but like I say, YouTube is a vast land, where all kinds of people come onto it, and I don't think it's happened yet. Although I mean, I have some people that I'm familiar with on here that I see fairly frequently, and there's been a relative a little bit starting to enjoy the channel. Actually, you could say three, because well, one of them, her mother-in-law's daughter, may not be watching it much, but a little bit, and they've been trying to bring it to this relative in hospice palliative care, as I sometimes have been mentioning in the past 2 or 3 videos or so. But anywho, uh, yeah, so it's kind of like, um, again, I'm trailing from a thought, but basically, yes. We can all be wrong about people sometimes, unless we're really familiar with them. Then hopefully, um, less likely to be wrong about them, I guess. Um, but I do think that sometimes people judge too quickly. Would I say I do? I don't know. I mean, it's a very natural human thing. We're all trying to figure out other people and being comfortable with them, or deciding if we are, deciding if we're interested in one way or another in them, or whatever. So, some people maybe focus on those things a bit more than other people, but I would say we all do it. Um, I'm trying to think if there's an example of somebody that I've misjudged. I mean, as far as like when you get into any kind of relationship with somebody, I mean, it's going to have moments, so whether that's a misjudgment or not, I don't know. Um, because one did pop up in my mind, and I was semi thinking of her, or at least where I met her from, people that also knew her last night and today, actually, a little bit, and it's just after 10 o'clock, and welcome. But I'm just trying to think if there's anybody I've ever misjudged, because I'm sure that there may have been. I think we all do it. Um, and feel free to you know you don't have to like say their full name or anything, but feel free to mention it below. I don't want to get into and I know I don't seem like I'm indeed I'm in the same place that I'm always doing these. It's true, because it's a laptop and because what do I do? Kind of busy out there today in the area. Um, Spent lots of money the other day for now, and yeah, I mean, and the privacy aspect too. I guess like doing this on YouTube without too many distractions and other people around me. Um, but I mean, but in the chat is welcome. Not that there's anybody here at the moment, but I haven't been rolling that long. Anywho, what else? But yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, when I'm thinking misjudgment, my mind keeps going to like not necessarily full on misjudgments, but like fallouts, or or even if it's just briefly fallouts, um, because I tend to see the good in people, or try to see the good in people, and fairly easily do. And I don't know, sure, like anybody, anyone that we come across, you start to form opinions. Um, but it's I really don't think I'm that judgy a person. I guess that's what it is, you know. But again, even though the word judge is in the word misjudge, um, misjudge doesn't necessarily mean negatively. I suppose it just could mean you were wrong. I wish I had, if I had known that this was going to come up, I would have maybe given it a bit of thought and seen who maybe comes to mind. Um, I don't want to focus too much on that topic, though. Maybe him. Um, and then I do and don't think that that's a similar topic to people that you grew up around or have in your life at some point, and not anymore. I don't necessarily know if I'd say that that's a misjudgment, as more as just how life unfolds sometimes. Um, and I like to hope that people are genuine and real. I know that there are a lot of fake people out there, and people that, for lack of a different word, might be misleading. However, I have no interest in those people. I mean, guess who does? But I mean, I guess who does? But no, don't need none of that. And I'd like to say that anybody who sees this, who is that way, who might not see it in themselves unless they look a little, you can be a better person. You can be a better person. And I can tell you this much, that you would likely, um, I mean, this may or may not apply to some people, but, and then I'm going to kind of get into the title a little bit, but just kind of to finish what I was saying a moment ago, and welcome, by the way, you can likely be more I hate to put it the two similar words almost side by side, liked if you worked on that. So I'm curious who we got watching, where you're watching from, how you came across this channel, and I'm sure that there's a burning question that our viewers have for me, which is probably something to the effect of, why are these random numbers and ages said in the title? Well, um, I guess I sometimes look for connections in things and signs and symbols and this and that. And I had a cell phone downstairs last night that was at 60% when I went to bed. There's the 60. Came downstairs, hadn't used it. It was at 18. It's an old phone. Um, and then it died. So, as we got two of you here, and maybe this applies to you, maybe it doesn't. And the 32 is, I know someone who passed away at 32. I probably, because I have had a lot of people pass away in my life, I probably know people that have passed away at 60, and I think 18 would especially stand out, kind of like the 32 does. Our dog's just laying really cute on that pillow over there. Um, but I can't think of anybody that has when they were 18. That's not to say, though, of course, that people don't, because unfortunately people do. Well, it's how you look at it, I suppose, too. Like, and the two people went away. But I mean, you could look at it as, but either one came back or someone else is here. Welcome. You could either look at it as, it's unfortunate that they passed away, and I'm not going to say it isn't. But whether it was because of a health problem or whatever, we have to also accept someone's soul's journey. And that they, wouldn't we all like to think that our loved ones are going to be in a better place? I mean, seriously. I'm going to add a little note there, though, because there did seem to be some people that were a little bit curious that stayed for a few moments but then left, and they came after my little speech about Trigger. Now, I somewhat feel like I have to go upstairs very briefly, but I hate to do it when there's nobody here, because somebody may tune in who may be this may be meant for, in one way or another, who may be, not shy and may want to chat, but if they don't see someone on screen, they might not stick around, and they don't know how briefly I'm going to be away for. Usually, it's not very long, but they don't know, so can't really be annoyed at them for that. So it's better when somebody's here and they, are already, here for a while and chatting or whatever, and that. But at the same time, sometimes the need, the need to step away briefly, not really because of the conversation necessarily, except sometimes maybe I need a bit of time to think about what I'm saying or wanting to say next, but is stronger, and I may need to. Um, I hemmed and hawed about podcasting today, but the last few have been especially fun and good. And I don't really have a whole lot going on today either. It was supposed to rain also, but it doesn't look like it. It's brighter in the background. But and this is the purpose, and it's the community that we have here, and I like it. So that being said, with this particular video, whether someone's familiar with me or not, and this wasn't really the intent, but if I did have to step away for a while and they didn't see me on screen, but they did see the title, although some people, anyway, they did see the title, they might be like, "Where is he? Is he okay?" Like, again, it wasn't quite the intent, because this time anyway, what I'm hoping for some help with is, and sometimes I'm not asking for any help, but is pretty mild. But if I can get it, that would be good. So yes, if I step away briefly, people wonder where I'm at, then hopefully they will stay and find out. And then when they see that I'm here, that's good. Hopefully they will want to participate. I think that 20 minutes in of rambling is a pretty good time to kind of stop for a moment. And, that's I've been talking pretty much nonstop. Not that I'm not capable of more. Last night, my throat was a bit sore, and the only person I was talking to was the other person in the house. I mean, I'd done my usual amount of podcasting, or pretty much, and I really. I don't think I was much in the evening, for some reason. So I don't know. But anyway, I'll be back. The dog is laying there very nice and good. In fact, I'm going to take a picture of him. I can't get enough of him. It was kind of nicer when he had his head down, but, But yes. Oh, okay. But I might wait a moment because somebody did just tune in. I was going to step away briefly, but, since you just tuned in, I will stay for a few minutes and chat, and then hopefully you'll want to chat, and then while you're writing a comment or whatever, I can. Okay, you left. So I think I'm going to do what I was going to do then. And obviously that person may not have cared either way. I mean, but again, we shouldn't misread those things too sometimes because, maybe they're like, oh, this guy looks like an interesting guy or an interesting person and got some interesting art there. And, check back at this later, you know. And it's so easy. Like, there's a bunch of videos I have lined up that I want to watch myself, to be honest. But so it's very easy to, like, get a lot of suggestions at you and have a lot that you might want to watch. And, sometimes you won't be the first choice, but as long as you're the second, third, or at least top five, not too bad. Nobody's here right now, but I gotta put on my sweater and then talk about something that kind of came up and then came to mind while I was away. I know I didn't watch any of this, but I really was not. So I want to start. Welcome. I want to first talk about something that I was talking about a few minutes ago in a little bit more depth about misjudging people. Now, this might not be a great example, but it came to mind where I briefly stepped away, where it's an example of somebody may remind, and I kind of was speaking of this earlier too, kind of randomly came up, and the person left. They're like, no, I'm judging. Who knows, right? And so am I, right? But where he's kind of sitting a bit more forward on the chair and looking at me, where we I'm thinking of somebody, possibly because I wrote a song about him the other day, and he's passed away, and I was thinking about that recently. And he's in that age range, and so is the other person he reminded me of. I mean, which they may not have been, they may still have looked alike, but been different ages, but they were similar in age. And sorry. Oh, right. Gary. So, basically, when somebody reminds you of somebody else, and you're unsure if you want to connect to them or not. This is kind of an interesting topic. Um, just in case people want to look at the chat and they see that while I'm talking. Um, basically, so I'm thinking of somebody who I used to be quite close with. Uh, aside from moving, there was another reason, a couple of reasons why I'm not really that close with them anymore. And I knew him around the same time as this other individual. The other individual has been passed. They might both be, to be honest, but um, the one for sure had passed away about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe. No, maybe not that long. 4 or 5 for sure. And the person didn't stay here to curiously find out if they might know this person. They may have thought to themselves, "Yeah, I probably don't know who he's talking about, but maybe you do." And the dog looked up, was like, "Maybe I do." Spiritually, maybe you do, or maybe you will. But okay, that spot on my shirt is not really showing, and I'm actually a little bit warm. So, whether you know this person or not, and me very well or not, the person I'm referring to's name is Gary Steinsland, and at the moment, who I'm referring to, and I wrote a song about him the other day. Actually, like I say, he passed away. It was a recent video, and I was gonna say it was called something it's not, but that was the first lyric. It was called something in the viewer left, but for anybody who sees this afterwards, something about up to the sky or something like that. Sky was in the title of the video. Other stuff worked its way into it, so it's not just the length of a song. Um, and it was pretty close to the beginning. If you put the slider along the bottom and you see the images change, it's when I was in front of the piano, but it was behind me. Like I wasn't sitting at it; it was behind me, and it was a new position I was trying, and I might even do that at some point in this one because my knees are a bit sore. This couch is getting old and a little less comfy than it maybe used to be, but it's not terrible either. And I'm getting old and a little less comfy in some ways. Um, but anywho, so um, I would love to follow up what I said moments ago with I allowed the friendship, and because I did, it was so lovely and beautiful. It wasn't not good, I will say that much. Um, but interestingly, I don't know if it was before or after he passed away. Like he was an online friend. I didn't see a lot of photos of him. I maybe seen a couple and didn't really see the resemblance. And then we really just chatted. And it's one of those things in life, getting close to people. But you know what? We're human. We're all social creatures, even if whether we're introverts or extroverts. And it's a normal thing. And some people struggle to be alone more than others, I would say too. But anywho, so basically, I chatted with him and this and that. But one day I saw a picture of him and I thought, my goodness, he does look like this person. At the time, also, I hadn't had the follow up with the other one. So maybe this isn't a great example. Welcome, by the way. But I'm happy to have had that connection with him. And maybe if the timing had been different, it would have, but then it would have maybe been more of an example because in my mind, it really wasn't quite as a great example as I thought it was. But, if and sorry if that was so confusing that two of you laughed. But anyway, and there's nobody else here at the moment. But yeah, basically, if I had said, "Oh well, he reminds me of so and so," speaking of, very go away, reminds me of so and so, and I don't want to connect with them, then I wouldn't have had that nice connection that I did have. I was a slightly busier person then. I mean, every now and then I still am, but I've always tried to make time for my connections and enjoy meeting people. So, um, yeah. Now, somebody just tuned in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Potentially meant to be in perfect timing. I did explain the numbers in the title or the ages in the title a moment ago. What I will add to that, there were reasons that I thought of these numbers, but some of which I don't even know yet. And you won't either because you just left. But for anybody that sees this afterwards, I'm going to keep the momentum going because I don't, like I say, I can't have the radio on when I'm doing this because I'm worried that YouTube will, have issue with it. And I have tonight, so I really just don't want to be sitting here quietly. As much as I don't mind, being a bit more slow and methodical, if I have thoughts coming in my head and I know that people might see this video afterwards, and yeah. So, another reason that I brought it here, and please, I just got to say to people that are not very familiar with me, I hope that you're getting a sense of my character and who I am as a person, which is part of the character part. And when I say character, I don't mean I'm acting. Um, you know, I really hope that if you've never seen my videos before, you can check them out as well. But you're at this one, there was two, there's one, that you realize I'm a good person. I mean, maybe we all have a bit of a bad bone in our body. Not just like like an injured bone, but like negative flaws, whatever you want to call it. And I, not meaning to, if what turned those two people off was that I sounded egotistical. Um, you know, I'm not meaning to, but you know, I truly am a very loving person, a very kind person, and I don't want. I mean, part of me wants to say that's what the world needs, and the world has lots of it, but it could always use more of it, right? And I'm really and I'm in that group apparently. I'm really just here to help people, help, and if I'm doing music, entertain, or if I'm doing comedy. Uh, but in all seriousness, and maybe I just won't. If somebody tunes in, I do kind of want to wait a little bit, and the number's been fairly active a lot at the top. Sometimes the view count doesn't seem to be as high as the number that I'm seeing, what I'm noticing along the top, but that makes me wonder if somebody is coming back more than once. Anywho, maybe I won't say why I'm asking, I'll just say this and then you know, if they don't think of the reason, then they might be very curious as to why. So some of my videos of music, it really varies. May not be your cup of tea, maybe it is. Maybe it's your cup of coffee. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. I love that line. So far, it hasn't gotten old for me yet. I was very surprised because she's even more decades than Aaron, although I think Aaron's younger, and she didn't know how to run a lot. That it really I was very surprised. Turn 9 possibly in some 38 center. 230s here. Plus my age plus the 32. So what I'm going to do next in this video, welcome, is and think about the ages. Think about the numbers at the top or in the title. I know this is a very unique, probably seeming very random thing, and the viewer left. So I'm just going to look at this one more time here. Okay. So, and I'm going to say some names. And if you connect those names to any of the ages said, okay, you know what I'm first going to do? I'm going to do it a different way because this is for, will be for me, but it might be kind of cool for other people to see. And if you've never seen, me do this before, once you kind of get a sense of it, you might be a bit more curious or a bit less skeptic if you're skeptic. So hear me out. I don't really know what's going to come from this, but my friend JP, and this is for me. I'm sharing it with you, but this is for me. So you can't call that scamming. I mean, I don't. I wouldn't anyway because I know me, and hopefully you wouldn't either because you don't think I'm that way. But anyway, for me, uh, JP is just came dancing into the kitchen, which is in front of me, and his angelic soul, and I must say a little bit suggestively, and he says, "Hey, bud, been a while." It has. How are you? Yeah, I'm okay. And he pointed at the chair. This is interesting. He pointed at the chair. I saw this with my what do they call it? Clairsentient, clairvoyance, um, mind's eye. Okay, and he pointed at the chair, which I'm going to take to mean he was asking if he could sit, which he knows he doesn't have to ask, and of course he can. Of course, you know, yeah, maybe different definition. So, uh, and he just says that he wants to say hi to the people here on YouTube. He said it like that on YouTube. And already, for anybody who sees this afterwards, because there's nobody here right now, you can see how specific this is. you know, and this is very organic on the spot. You know, if I'm being very honest, while I was rolling here, a message came in um, on a certain platform, and speaking of trigger people, the person kind of is, and they were sending, but this is a shared device, so it's connected to the other person. The other person isn't. If Barry sees this, you know, you'll know who the other person is, I think, and neither of us are really, glad that you had him on your show, but neither of us are really hugely impressed by you and how disorganized and misleading you kind of were. I mean, he might not have the guts to say it, but I do, because, well, it affected me, it impacted me, disappointed me, and to be quite honest, I still wonder if I'd gotten to do what you'd said I could, if maybe I'd have more clients today and be living differently in some ways. I don't have to rely on just one person for that, but getting a start is just really hard. By the way, I'll take this moment 41 minutes in to say if anybody sees this part of the video and is just so happens to be looking at something called canadastartups.org, um, they are a scam. And I'm fully, willing to, if I know for sure that something's a scam, and I'm pretty sure I do with this one, let other people know. So there you have it. Anywho, and he had said something about some event, which made me think of JP. And with this kind of thing, sometimes it's just as easy as connecting a dot like that, or thinking of somebody and there they are. Other times it's not, but honestly, if I'm not thinking of them, I'm usually not channeling them. Come to think of it, and so and it may sound weird to say that I don't think of my loved ones very often. I mean, there's just so many, that have passed away, but I guess I do and I don't. For all the time I sometimes have in my hands, I'm surprised that I don't. But I mean, some of them have been passed away for a long time, and I guess I maybe in the back of my mind, I'm thinking if they want to visit, they'll visit. Otherwise, there's, like I say, no shortage of distractions online and sometimes in life, and so I don't know. That's the best I can kind of explain it. He says, "You're doing fine, bud. You're doing fine. We're here for you." Now, speaking of thinking about certain people that have passed away, and when sometimes that's all it takes, I thought of his partner, who I sort of knew in life and have kind of known in spirit. And there's a part of me that thought, oh, is this individual going to be present as well in angelic form? I'm not seeing them at the moment. I've also been curious about Ray, and of course, always my dad, and so many. And I'm not noticing at the moment. And he says maybe later. But he says, so I'm just relaying, and somebody left, but whatever. So says I deserve only great things. Thank you. I agree. Um, and he's suggesting a certain thing. He says if I'm bored and nobody's here, he's being a bit silly. But he knows he's not gonna get a yes about it. So now I am gonna turn on the light. And some people would say, "Oh, can't you ask them? Ghosts can do that." Well, I wouldn't call him a ghost. I believe that ghosts are before angel form, is what I've come to believe. But also, sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. Okay, and that's the other thing. Media portrays certain things in sometimes not very realistic ways. Um, you know, Even if it might seem like they're really trying to, for instance, um, um, communicate with ghosts, and like I would say, why would they pretend? Um, I don't really know. Like those ones that use those ESVP or whatever they are machines. I don't really. Sorry, my just a little bit. My neck and my arms are a little bit chilly. I don't really know how that works. I know what they sound like. I don't really know how that works. I don't really use those things. But we got somebody here, and again, I feel like it is meant to be. So welcome. Glad to have you here. Don't be shy. Um, And like I say, the only number that I relate to personally, well, maybe the 60 and the 32, but that doesn't mean that you can't. But the 18 one is especially sad and kind of has me curious. And my friend JP just wants to relay that, he feels I'm talented and that I can really help a lot of people, heal a lot of people that feel a little bit broken sometimes. It's okay, we're human, you know. I'm adding that latter part. And so allow me to, and I'd be happy to do that for you. Um, he's saying something very interesting, which may or may not resonate with the person that's watching right now. Uh, Now, he did play a little guitar. So what he's actually saying, he's trying to communicate. What he's actually saying is like he struggled with addictions, and we're not going to talk too much about addictions, but he now it seems really bright in here. I mean, I did turn the light on, but I think it's gotten a bit sunnier out. Anywho, that I follow someone who does like meditative guitar playing. I don't know much of his story. And, I don't know if I should name him or not. It's his story to tell. But I'll just say that he apparently has had a bit of a difficult past, may relate to my friend in some ways. And welcome to the second person that's here. And so he does meditative guitar videos, or he tries to do medicine. Sometimes people in the chat, I wonder who one of them is, distracts him. But the chat wouldn't distract me, as long as it's on topic and it's in kindness, that's all I ask. Um, and some, and I'm, yeah. Anywho, so basically, I feel like my friend JP, just to give a bit more realness, if you feel like you need that proof, even though you didn't know him, he's saying that he wished that he had found something like that. Like it was a very sudden, kind of accidental overdose issue that he had. But he says, I knew how to play guitar, but I should have done more with it. Whether that's meditate with it or do more with it. He's kind of saying that he kind of threw some of his talents away. Um, but he says, honestly, the main reason was because he just liked to hang out with his friends. And it just, it sat in his closet for a while. And then he made a little joke, kind of like he did for a while. He says, growing up on the res wasn't easy sometimes. Anywho, um, so doesn't have to be any of the ages mentioned in the title, and kept a few of you intrigued for a while there. One of you lingered for a bit, but doesn't have to be any of the ages mentioned. And again, I don't experience these kind of communications super often, but I sometimes do. Um, that being said, I really do appreciate the earthly and online presences of people, and I feel like this ability isn't always there for me, or I don't feel like I always can access it. Um, which to people that do it might seem a little bit odd, but I'm me. I can be odd. um, I think in the past I have noticed where I've kind of channeled somebody a little bit when nobody was here, and then somebody came here and it resonated, and somebody just did. So welcome. It's been a bit fluctuating. Maybe some of the people meant to hit like or meaning to come back. But I do feel you meant to be here, so and you left, so whatever. And I know. In some ways, it probably doesn't make my videos sound good to keep mentioning that, but at the same time, I know they are good. I mean, at least decent, and other people do sometimes agree. And it's all up to a person's opinions and feelings. Nothing else but their opinions and feelings should decide whether it's for them. Um, but anywho, and I notice it, and it's not like this. It's such a high number that it's hard to keep track of. I do feel like I'm going to go on a road trip shortly. I'm not sure, but maybe this would be a good segue. So I'm looking at a post online. Lately, I sometimes bring those into the chat, and but I'll make a little joke because sometimes you got to laugh things off, even if it's not necessarily amusing necessarily. But well, either somebody came back or anyway. But so basically, this guy named Peter, which was I believe JP's, I believe was Joseph Peter. One's reality is subjective. It all depends on you. In other words, you get what you expect. I disagree with that, and I'm going to be specific about that myself. I have expected to be a successful musician, photographer, such and such, for a number of years now. I mean, other times in life, I had other distractions. I was going to groups. I was, doing karaoke. I was at times in classes, including for one or two of those things. And, they just went to Greek courses and they did okay. And, or working and welcome. And, um, but a lot of that stuff has kind of always been an interest. And, whether you want to say that or manifesting, I'm sorry, it hasn't worked for me. It may work for some, and I wish they'd get more specific because I don't feel like I've seen a lot of people get super specific as to, but I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have. Um, I'm not really sure why this person's even in this group because their other comment makes it sound like they're really just there to kind of disagree with people, to be honest. And I'm not saying that we can't disagree with people, in a respectful way. But and I'm not saying that he's necessarily being disrespectful, but I'm looking for believers right now. I'm just looking at a post online and wanting to talk about it. Um, okay, nobody's here right now, and I do kind of want to read this comment. There's no such place as hell. Why do people continue to put the fear into other people? Well, there's definitely evil in the world. There's definitely bad things, and there's also bad people who should not make it to heaven, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't understand how someone could think otherwise. Maybe they don't believe in heaven, so they're like, well, I'm not worried about running into them, because I do my best to stay away from them while I'm living, and then that's all. But let's see what kind of comments it got. This is very interesting. So I think the poster of the post, who ironically is the day I came across her, was the same day I came across somebody's live stream talking about Small World, and they'd been. I almost thought they were setting a Guinness record. They'd been rolling for so long. Then they came to mine, which is where I discovered her last name, and it was the same last name as this one. Kind of unique. Chapstick if you're curious, chapstick if you're not. And I'm just looking at this post, and this girl says, well, I don't know. I don't know if I should focus on this or ask if you have any questions on the title, to be quite honest. Who are you talking to? Hello, Edward. Well, you can be one of the people I'm talking to, because you know, whoever watches this video is. I mean, isn't that what most people post YouTube for? To talk to whoever watches the videos. Is this your first time to the channel? Welcome. Glad to have you here. Um, and were you here earlier? Okay, you've left. It looks like, or at least that could be inaccurate, as sometimes it is. I know there was an Edward in one of the chats I was looking at recently, but I think there was another thing, something else with the name. Edward, are you still there, or who do we got watching? And do you have any questions on the title of the video? I'm thinking if Edward, or the person who's here now, was here a little earlier, you may have gotten a little bit of a background or an idea. Canada, you? Yeah, so it's. I think you're a first timer to the channel. That's the vibe I'm getting. I could be wrong. And you have. So aside from doing music, because I am musical, one of the things that I'm talking about in this video is the afterlife. Do you believe in it? I want to not distract you from your comments, although sometimes I'll be yammering. I will be, as I sometimes do. um, but just watching for your next comment. You do believe in the afterlife. Okay. Do you resonate with any of the ages? And I don't know if I need to say them because you can see them. Ages in the title of this video. One of them is in the description. It's 18. And that one has me especially kind of sad and curious because I feel like today, so I'm a medium, mostly for myself, but I'm happy to give healing to others. And I feel like today these numbers, and this doesn't actually seem to happen all that often, these numbers have come to me because there is somebody that's meant to get a message connected to someone who's passed away at or at least very near one of these ages. And two of them may have applied to me, is what I've kind of figured out. Doesn't mean they wouldn't to you, but the one that I can't seem to make a connection to is the 18 one for myself, anyway. Like JP was young when he passed away, but he wasn't that young. I feel like, I'm trying to remember how old Hilton was. He was 19. That could be. But I'm also kind of hoping that it might represent connection to you or the other person that just tuned in. It might resonate for. But I think I may have thought about who it could be. There's a guy named Colton. Cool guy. I've introduced him in the videos before. He's a rapper. He, I think, played a bit of piano. Um, uh, he's actually dating my friend Ray on the other side. I found out. That's pretty cool. And there's another special element I might not share. But basically, and that was drug related too, I believe. But we don't have to get hugely into that topic. And again, feel the feels. And if you get triggered, let's talk our way. Let's talk through the triggers and come out, hopefully a little bit feeling more better. I know that was bad grammar, but there you have it. Don't forget to subscribe, by the way, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to. If those ages aren't resonating, but there's someone that you'd like to hear from, feel free to put it in the chat. But right now, I am sensing Colton and possibly Jason. And I see them all dancing in the other room again, actually, to music that I don't hear, but they do. And they're actually kind of motioning for me to join them, but I'm podcasting right now, so and I prefer to dance to music that I can hear. I guess I could have music in my head, but that I don't seem to have. Well, sometimes you get a song in your head, but Edward, are you still there? I think you are. Just checking. I will say that Colton's just saying that he's really sorry that it's been so long since he's visited me. One thing I'll say about him is I didn't actually know him. I was trying. This doesn't happen super often, and I was not dreaming. It was before I'd fallen asleep. Again, I introduced all of this in more depth in a other video a few weeks ago. Not sure what the coma is there. Are you saying you're thinking of someone that is in a coma, or was that a typo? Or anywho, and he introduced himself, and I think he also played sports. Actually, come think of it. And we have three of you here now. And at the end of the video, where the next day after kind of connecting with him, I came and talked and introduced him a little bit. He had me do an interesting rap on the spot rap song on piano. I don't remember it, but he's saying that was rad, man. Now I see the three guys over there, but I don't see Ray, which is actually a female. And they all kind of jumped in with, she's okay, don't worry. I don't know if I've ever heard more than one say something all at once, even though it was just, brief. And now it doesn't look like anybody's here, but I know that sometimes is not accurate. Like it goes from 1 to 0, but the person's still here. At the moment, it just seems to be that they're showing me that they're here with me today, that they're having a good time with each other and being here. And I mean, JP said a few things. Jason's kind of quiet anyway. Colton, I'm really still just getting to know. But I can see that he's noticing the piano a little bit and the guitar. He's like, I mean, I don't play, but he says, but you do. I know you do. You're really good. So if you have a song request, I'd be happy to do some music for you too. And that may not have been Edward that just came in, because I think you'd know kind of what's going on, but that person didn't, and probably thought I was saying they play guitar and got a little confused. If they don't, maybe they could. And I know I still have my own and other videos kind of that I want to watch with the other person in the house, and or just myself look back at. And so doing another one is just, well, another one. But I'm not sure what to think. Edward came in, isn't answering some questions, but put a few comments, is a believer. But you know what? Death is one of those things, especially if and it really is a blessing. I mean, again, it's not sometimes as often as I might wish for it, but I really don't even wish for it. I just let it happen. And, but if you struggle to notice those kind of things, even if you believe, then, I'm still human. Loss still hurts, and it still gets sad. But the ability does make things a little bit easier. And if you don't got it, then that could be especially hard. There are always people, though, that do have it. It is unfortunate that some people are scammers. I'm not. I mean, sure, most people wouldn't be honest if they were, but I'm a very honest person, and I'm not. I'm not trying to scam anybody. I'm just trying to heal people. Just trying to use my gift um, for good. Um, so I'm not sure again if any of the numbers in the title, the ages in the title, resonate with somebody. Uh, if there's somebody that you'd like to hear from. Um, and one thing I will say too is if either of our viewers or any of our viewers are religious and they're sitting here thinking, I want to believe, but this is the Bible is misinterpreted, and some people may do it for the wrong intent. Again, that's not me, and they can totally coexist. And both of you left as as soon as I mentioned religion, sorry, you know, I just thought I don't know the people who are watching, and maybe this will mean something to them. In fact, I'm being reminded of something else I wanted to connect to this. So if any and the viewers left, so I kind of want to kind of list off some names because I feel like they've come into my awareness today for a reason, as well as the ages. Um, so give this an opportunity, a chance. I'm doing this just to try and give healing to others. We all need it, and I'm gonna say some. The viewer left again, but I'm gonna say some names, and if they mean something to you, especially connected to the age, but kind of in general, we'll go from there. I mean, like I say, I mostly only channel my own loved ones, so it is a little bit. Well, I'll wait. Sean, and I know some people may say, "Oh, then because you're not for certain, you're going to say sounds like Sean." No, I feel Sean is the one name. Um, this is not sound racist at all, but I do sense that there are two souls that are like um, not white. One's African, I think. The other one, I don't think is. But again, I don't know if I'm still seeing a little bit in my mind's eye JP and Jason, and they were indigenous. Um, uh, Betty, Stu, Barry, Alan, Clay, a KE name. Um, and nobody's here. But I think I know the way one of them passed away too. And a lot of people, whether they watch the media or just see things, that seem miss this kind of stuff misrepresented or shown in a scary way. Um, you know, they are going to operate a little bit. They're going to receive it in a slightly not sure if you're comfortable kind of way. It's unfortunate because it can be very beautiful. Ow. Oh. Sure, that's inside of the couch. I shouldn't bump down so much like that. I'm very confused. Someone said that they do believe. I couldn't have kind of brought this. I couldn't have kind of came into this in any better way. I don't think. They may have stayed around for a little while and expected me to instantly say something, but I was a bit distracted, and you know, I don't necessarily know if that's necessarily a realistic expectation that they should have had. So, um, but as I mentioned before, and it's interesting. What's really interesting, I'll share a bit of a story actually, and it'd be really funny if this person tunes in. I haven't seen them in a while on here. Um, I was channeling somebody once. It was, I think, around this time of day or during the day anyway. And I don't remember a lot of details. Okay, let's see if that goes. Perfect. And I think the person had seen one or two of my other videos before. I'm not sure if she was the one that was a little bit kind of, well, there was a misunderstanding. I don't think that was her though. And it wasn't about this, it was just kind of in general. But anywho, I had connected with an individual in the spirit realm, an angel. If we say angels, that's a good thing. And then the viewer tuned in, and I relayed a little bit about what I experienced, and they stayed, and I mean, they were kind of known for giving hearts, prayer hands, maybe thumbs up, and something else in a row. So they did do that, but I was really getting a sense that it was resonating at least somewhat for this person. And then there was another time actually that, and I may have known the person that I was channeling, like who was communicating with me, but I don't remember for sure. Or it wasn't for sure, but anywho, and basically, somebody kind of stuck around then for a while too. I don't do this often on the channel, but so what I'm just curious about, this is very interesting and specific too. I don't sense, I mean, yes, I'm kind of ignoring them, but I don't sense my three friends are still dancing in the kitchen, and we have a bit of a wall, you know, and they're kind of, what I'm sensing is they're behind it. Now I could have gotten, they've left. I could have gotten, and then JP runs out and says, surprise, and he's going the other way. No touchy. But he really just say, but Dad, I'm not your daddy. Are you my pappy? Ah, God. Anywho, I really am thankful for this gift, though. I mean, yeah, I have people online, this and that, but honestly, it keeps me company and sane too, probably in some ways, even if it might not seem that way for some people. So, um, so kind of multitasking. I like, okay. Who wouldn't want to accept some forgiveness of God? Really believe in Him or not? Who wouldn't? Um, you know, we all want forgiveness. Everyone needs forgiveness, the kindness of a stranger. And the person like, nah, I don't like forgiving. It's too hard. They didn't say that, but maybe they thought it. If you experience hell, it's because you have a hellish mind. So I'm just kind of multitasking. Things were a little bit quiet here for a bit, but I welcome you to the video to process the title. Okay, we're not. One thing I'll say, and I'm sure other people on this person's post have said, have my angels moved on if they passed away a long time ago? Some people think is their reincarnation, next life. I don't really. Um, and part of that is because, I know that I'm always communicating with the ones that have, not always, but when I do, with the ones that have passed away and hope to see them again someday. But no, don't worry. Find comfort in knowing they're there and willing to wait for the most part. Really, mostly willing to wait for you. Um, this is a really nice background. Um, this is a very interesting post. I'm just going to show it to you. But the viewer left, but whatever. I'm still going to show it to the screen. And I'm especially curious to know the life that we're supposed to live. I know that this is the kind of stuff people have opinions about. I know it. That's interesting. Just gotta check something for a moment. It's been a while since I've had multiple spiritual visits from angels, but I'm almost sensing Lynn. I don't know if I'd call her a loved one. She was a support worker to me when I was younger. Whoops. I don't know why the first two aren't showing. I didn't think I blocked it, but anyway. I don't know if I want to read the rest of this guy's comment. It's quite intense, but at the same time, there's a part of me that's kind of curious about it. I'll just read the replies to it. So I was just reading a comment on something else while waiting for things to kind of pick up again in here. Welcome. I think you just got here, kind of looking back and forth a little bit here, and curious what your thoughts are on the title. I'm just wondering. I'm just looking. Okay. He's saying if you reject Jesus as your Lord and Savior, then death claims you. I'm almost like, okay, I accept. I'm just kidding. So kind of an interesting comment. I really want to share this with somebody. This is kind of amusing. So show up or else. I've got time. It's only 11 o'clock anyway. I just don't like to sit around waiting for people. I don't want to wait for to be over. I want to know right now what will it be. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. Will it be? And even when I have to go upstairs, I like to be able to watch. Maybe I'll just add it in the comments. Okay, well, somebody just tuned in, so I will read this part because it's kind of interesting. Um, Somebody says, why can't we just go to heaven in the first place? Sick of living in suitcases, which of course sounds a little bit intriguing. So then somebody says, I know this is crazy world. Okay, wait, no, it's not your time yet. And the person left. So it actually may not have made that much sense to type this, but it seems to make sense to read it. Um, um, Someone says, what do you know? Are you a hotel owner? I thought they said, what do you do the first time I looked at it? Love the levity of the comment of your comment, but there are lessons to learn and purpose for each stay. Pack light, but bring lots of love. Um, and then this person said, so pretty much basically, I hate to repeat it, but I don't know if you heard it the first time, because somebody just tuned in. Why can't we just go to heaven in the first place? Sick of living in suitcases. What do you hear when you hear that? I'm not sure what I hear. Anyway, a couple comments lower, it says, pack light, but bring lots of love. And then it says, I'm not packing any lights I won't get through customs. Oops. What if they're customized lights? um, just looking at, I look at both. I look at the comments that we get in the chat here. And I'm looking at a post to inspire conversation. The title can do that too if you'd like it to. But you both left, so whatever. Whenever I have anxiety about death, but maybe both, this person says I remind myself that everyone is doing it. I like that. Um, does anybody believe that destiny is chosen at birth? Death is a part of life. It's just the end bit. Um, yeah, glad to have you here. Who do we got watching? Uh, I just had an interesting thought about life reviews that I'm not sure if I've ever had before. One, wouldn't that kind of take the joy of passing away into heaven and distract it and of reuniting with our loved ones, or do we get to do that first and then we do that and then we get to do it more? But then also, why not just learn in life? I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say before, but wouldn't it make sense to say that maybe we pass when we've learned all the lessons we need to? There's a thought. Um, I shared this one the other day, so I don't think I'm going to, but it was a really powerful sign that somebody had experienced from their loved one. Okay. Ed Alderbach. Yeah, Edward didn't stay, but that doesn't mean that somebody else might not get something more from it. Doesn't mean that he didn't get something from it too, I suppose. But yeah, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Doesn't look like much is happening. But who knows? Maybe there were people that would have stayed, didn't notice the comment, didn't see me here, didn't know where I was. I don't either sometimes, to be quite honest. Okay. Okay. I seem to have lost it again. Look later. I do want to start watching some of my other videos soon, but I'd really love for this to not just be about me or for me. I mean, I know I'm posting it and people can see it afterwards, and there is that, but I'd really love to. I don't know. Some people may be kind of used to seeing people when they're not looking at the screen that and thinking that they're not going to pay attention to the comments anyway, but I do. And if you've never seen my videos before, I think that you know the notes that I put in the chat are just I don't know. I think I pretty quickly give that sense. Um, Everybody's different, right? But um, let me just see here. Just looking for something for a moment here. So, I noticed things were a bit quiet for a bit there, and maybe a couple of people meant to like, but it didn't stick or whatever. But I noticed that somebody just okay, okay. Maybe, oh yes, I did. Okay, I thought so. She was the one that posted, so she's gonna want to even more so know. But to the other one who I said I could do it for free, um, I mean, how can she hate that? I said I could, but yeah, I still will. So I'm just looking at a group. I don't actually visit it very often online. Like truly, I don't. Um, but the other thing is too, we can approach this from a different angle too, where we just simply talk about the topic. And the topic, aside from song requests that this video is about, is really kind of the afterlife, but also kind of life, maybe too. So that's quite a lot we could look at there. What would you like to focus on in what aspect of life, the afterlife, or music? None of them. To the either to the either of you, to the others of you. Okay. Well, Slotion. I almost missed this post because I went one down from it, and even though it stands out a lot more the way it's posted, and basically the person says it's comforting to know that loved ones who have passed away still visit us in spirit form, though I wish they could be here physically. Don't we all relate to that? Even mediums. I'll roll a little bit longer. Wow. Also, do I know what the other phone is? I'm not seeing it. No. Okay, video call might be nice. I know I saw it recently, though. I think it's in the kitchen, actually. This guy claims, or actually, woman, now that I see the name, claims that her dad visited them within 10 minutes. That might be the quickest I've ever heard. Although, like I said, Coma states that there is that too, which inspired the song I sang the other day, bringing his ashes home. Soon as my hubby placed them on his chair, within 5 minutes, a heavy heart ornament fell right from the ceiling. It's been up months, no wind or anything. My mom's bedroom door was keeps opening on its own as well. Lived here 24 years, never happened before my dad passed away weeks ago. I don't know whether to put a care or a wow to that. Too bad I can't put a care wow or a wow care. So I'm just looking at a post to, you know, bring into this conversation. I realized too that maybe we lost the other two or three that it came in when I kind of summarized down to three topics because they're big topics. Even the music one is a pretty big and vast topic. I understand that. Doesn't mean we couldn't have addressed it though. I love this. Barbara agrees. And somebody whose name isn't loaded. I also wonder if some people believe a bit more that pets can visit. I mean, obviously they communicate differently. Ours is laying over there right now looking like he's doing the brushing, and he's kind of, sort of looking up at me, but looking tired and like he wants to lay back down. Wish I could sleep during the day and still have a nap later, but people doing long videos seems to be quite popular these days, so I'm not necessarily weird for that. Or anything else, I'm just me. Not mean to creep anybody out in doing that. Don't stand up. Somebody says it's sad that somebody thinks that it's about that it's demon based, and I agree. Obviously, obviously. This is a great point, and I kind of have thought of it, but I'd never really thought to put it quite into words, either. Okay, people need to hear this. Come on, chop chop. Come on in. I sometimes say that, and it got his attention. Uh, I do want to watch some other videos soon. I've been meaning to for a while now. I'm ever so tempted to watch. I don't really want to wear headphones. They are there, but I don't really find them comfortable. Especially since I've had a bit of a tender ear lately. But I kind of want to play this since nobody's here and kind of be watching for when somebody is. I wouldn't want them to get mad. But I mean, I'm an hour and 45 minutes into this. But whether they skip ahead or not, I mean, I watched theirs for almost an hour and a half last night. Not quite an hour and a half, but pretty close.
Their life and what they've learned and how they've evolved and
just quietly. Well, that just because I just came to this device, I guess.
I don't think so because I think I've met a lot of people who have been from their years that have actually more wisdom than we do because they put so much.
So what are you up to?
You know, like had a lot of self-activism that has made them really smart individuals. You know.
When you 36 minutes go. Chat soon. Oh, I just realized though. That's a good question, actually. If you are, and you are, surprise, a certain age, would you wish to be a different age? That's that's right. I was just remembering too that this guy said that he was wishing he was 40, but he's I think he said turning 36, and um, who sees this, but I have to look back and see which ones it's something. I do want to share something with him, so. Because he wants to do really long ones, sometimes it would be about an hour. And sometimes you don't get very much happening in an hour. You have to wait till 2 hours or close to. I don't know why this is saying 4:03 p.m. yesterday as if it was 4:03 p.m. today, which hasn't happened yet. Hmm. Let me see if I'm right. Now, one thing I will say is with disability, I'm not psychics. A lot of people claim to be that are. I'm not. I do want to quickly go back to the topic, though, since somebody just tuned in. Um, Speaking about life, the afterlife, music requests, but as far as the afterlife, somebody on a post here says, and okay, and you left. I really want someone to hear this because I feel like, certain people probably need to. I don't usually like to talk about certain types of, like negative energies and that, but I really love that song from that show DH, and I really like this comment. But anyway, my guess would be though is that I guess part of it is from watching him last night a little bit though for the first time. Um, it seems to me as if he is struggling to figure out a lot of stuff and self doubting himself a lot, this and that, and maybe he thinks that's still going to take years to you know get better from. Although he's very smart, and so maybe he thinks maybe by the time I'm 40, I'll have it figured out.
I was just hyperfixated on.
Well, I'm 39. Still a lot of stuff I haven't figured out, and guess we'll see.
That's it. Well, it's a confusing time too in your life. There's like trying to figure out who you are, away from your parents, all this stuff going on at that time. And then when you get to 30, you're like, all right, I feel like I have a better handle on life.
Again, it depends who you are. So far, although I've not disagreed with some of the stuff he said, and I don't hate either of them, so far I kind of, it's weird. I think at one point in the chat with them, I had said that I felt like I connected more with her way of thinking about certain things. But sometimes there's been a couple of things, and he agrees, or, talking in such a linear fashion as if everybody's life works that way.
Generally, you always are going to have that. I heard a lot of people that say 50, or actually, I think 50 is a bit more.
152.
Maybe it's not so directly tied to the age, but the Desert Gal 36. 36. But the but I keep losing that just with my brain cells. No, you just had a stressful day. I have.
You've just had a stressful day. I have.
Yeah. All right. But anyways, the
I think he was joking.
thing. Shoot. You're talking about 50. 50. So yes, I hear it a lot with that.
Sounds
like,
different today
you
than
get-
you did last night.
but
Does he
that
does?
doesn't have to be that age exactly. But I think you just maybe have a worldview that opens
I don't have
up
playing
with-
very loud.
I kind of think about it in terms of high school. When you're first coming into high school, you're like learning the ropes. You're a freshman, and everything is like new and scary. And I think about that in like the water supply. And then the sophomore year, you got your bearings. So like think about that in high school. Or you're in the school. You're kind of in the mix of it.
Did he just say? Okay, this guy's. They both maybe completely lost me now. I think he just said, "Well, that's okay because I can eliminate something I watch." Not that I have to watch any of it, but might as well. You don't have much else going on. Anyway, I think he just said that in your soft. Wait a minute. I don't have much of a college experience, so. Um, but I mean, again, everybody's life is different. But you certainly aren't 30 in high school most of the time. No judgment if you are. But I think he's talking in a more general sense, and you wouldn't be 30 in college, university most of the time. But again, that's in a general sense. But back to the previous topic, I just wanted to read Maureen's comment here that says, and I don't know whether you're somebody that I don't know where your belief system is on the things about the afterlife, but she says something really powerful. If so, replying to somebody, demons, as you're calling them, are doing this, then why are the majority of these people's experiences so beautiful, fulfilling, and peaceful? What do demons have to gain? I don't like to talk about demons very often, but well, really ever much, but have to gain by creating an incredibly wonderful experience with regards to someone's own NDE or the positive events related to loved ones passing. I didn't read all of that the first time. I just kind of noticed the first part. Um, and it seemed to hold somebody's interest, and then they left. I know some people, they really just don't want to be around anything mentioning demons, and I understand. I don't want to think about that. I know people are thinking, but you didn't say that about demons, so maybe you do. No, no, that one just hit too. That particular one hit potentially too close to home. I mean, I was even a bit worried this morning for a reason, but all was fine. But or potentially could hit too close to home, and I just don't want to think there. I'm gonna try something here, and it's gonna be splendid. I'd like to know that somebody's watching, and I can't go. Oh, I might. Oh, look at that! Oh, look at that, baby! Ah. Playing great, even though she didn't have this kind of hair. It's JP. It's kind of cool. So, if you're watching at this point and you're hearing nothing, I know that the screen has just went out. I welcome you to skip ahead. Skip ahead, and you will hear a message that you will either resonate as coming from your loved one or God. And if for some reason you can't do either, then me. I am not God, and at this point we probably don't know each other very well, so I'm not really your loved one. Dear human being, all those you have loved and lost on this planet in this lifetime are in the room. There are children in the room, and you know who I'm talking about, don't you? Brothers and sisters. Well, I didn't begin to come back. Just kidding. Hmm. Hmm. Brothers and sisters, moms, dads, cousins, uncles, aunts. The room is filled with human family that some of you have put into the ground and said goodbye to. They are here. You are not, apparently. And I'm bored and don't want to wait, so I'm going to continue. And then we'll go from there. It's really powerful for someone else. I really want to watch some other videos and do some other things. And, maybe I'll make some connections with people that I can kind of tell about this part too. At the moment, nobody's here. Maybe somebody will tune in. Either way, I'm going to continue instead of just sitting here waiting for someone to tune in. Sometimes it's quicker than other times. So, back to what we were saying. Some might say, well, why would that be? Why would they show up just for today? And I will tell you, they don't just show up today. You're a human being. So many have been with you all along, but you don't want to see them. You just don't see them. They're vertical, and perhaps you're horizontal, a reference to the study of perception. They are not in the perception. Your belief system doesn't support the information, perhaps, that these departed loved ones are still with you and part of your guide structure and will be with you all your life. Did you know that? It's part of the system if you see it, if you look for it, and if you're willing to believe it. Now the question is, because I had this idea as well for a title, and now the question is before us, should I do some music? Do I have the energy? Should I make that its own video? We don't even have anybody at the top right now curious or here at all. However, I am wondering that if I started it and somebody came in and this video got some likes, which it doesn't have yet, but again, maybe a couple people intended to give such, then maybe it will make other people curious. I'm thinking that I really kind of don't have much energy, to be quite honest. And since nobody's here to help ignite the energy and to be here and make me want to do more in this, I'm sort of thinking I might wrap up. I do have other things I want to do, nothing hugely necessary or urgent. Yeah, yeah, that's good. But So I think that that's what I'll do. For whatever reason, Edward may be feeling mixed feelings, or maybe something came up in the day. Um, didn't stick around very long, but and I'm gonna say bye for now as well. Take care.